Why rely on big tech for your communication when their values oppose your faith? Fide offers private, ad-free email built by and for Catholics. Most of you know Fide for email. And soon, they're launching Fide Chat, a fully end-to-end encrypted messaging app, perfect for Catholic families and groups. Sign up for fide.email today and you'll receive lifetime pricing for Fide Chat when it launches later this summer. Join Fide today. You don't have to compromise your faith for technology.
Reform is the key driving factor in the church today, it seems, and it has been for some time. And this reform really reflects this weird dynamic where the church is communicating to the world in a way that isn't exactly chastising the world for going off the deep end of sin, for embracing wicked ideologies and all the rest of it. Instead, it's usually parroting the language of the secular authorities, dressing it up in the language of the gospel, and then chastising people who, especially Catholics, who take a particularly unpleasant brand of politics in the eyes of the people running the church. Typically, these would be right-wing groups. Even though when you look at the church's Catholic social, when you look at Catholic social teaching, it's not neatly left-wing or right-wing, but we'll just say progressive groups typically don't like the church's actions in the civil sphere until the last few decades. Then they suddenly thought it was pretty cool. But before that, we were considered retrograde and right-wing and all the rest of it as Catholics, not just in America, but across the West broadly. Something changed, and you end up getting weird stories like this one. And it's where your bishops start acting like political actors, participating in elections, secular elections, and telling Catholics how to vote. And not just on, well, you can't support people who vote certain ways on certain topics, but in general, like in Germany, where they told people not to vote for their milquetoast center-right political party that is, by German standards, hard right-wing. But by American standards, is pretty milquetoast. This comes from Info Vaticana. Under the headline, German Archbishop issues stern warning, do not use the right to life to divide society. And that's a German archbishop dressed like some sort of Protestant minister. They have this weird habit of doing that in Germany, and I don't know why. The German bishops there have not recovered from the winning of that election by Conservative Party. They have not recovered from it. They were telling people to excommunicate members of that party. They were doing all sorts of wild stuff before that election. And then the people voted for them anyway. And now they're chastising the political leaders for objecting to the sacrifice to Moloch and doing it in a way that's overt, which some people in Germany don't like. And that is what they're chastising them for. It's amazing. And he does it in ways where there's a lot of truth to what he's saying. It's how modernists work, is they dress their errors up in truth. Here are the details. Archbishop Udo Bentz, recently appointed to head the Archdiocese of Paderborn, has sparked controversy in Germany by stating that the defense of the right to life should not deliberately exacerbate social tensions. The statements were published on the Archdiocese's official website amid the scandal surrounding Volker Borosius Gersdorf's nomination to the Constitutional Court. This is a scandal in Germany about a nomination of essentially a Supreme Court justice. As Americans, we should all be very familiar with that. According to Bentz, anyone who, quote, instrumentalizes this issue stops speaking out in favor of life and begins speaking out only against others. The prelate referred to observations from, quote, independent sources that indicate that, quote, right-wing populist forces critical of democracy are exacerbating the public debate around the sacrifice to Moloch. The controversy that prompted the Archbishop's intervention began when the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung newspaper described the would-be justice's statements in favor of decriminalizing the sacrifice to Moloch as highly problematic. The jurist was nominated by sectors of the Bundestag, including CSU figures such as Jan Spahn and Chancellor Friedrich Merz. Following the controversy, 4 German bishops publicly expressed their concern: Cardinal Rainier Marie Welke, Bishop Helmut Deser, Stefan Oster, and Rudolf Wolderholzer. Those are 4 of your better bishops in Germany. Pressure from conservative and Christian sectors forced the postponement of the parliamentary vote, originally scheduled for July 11th. In a statement, Bishop Bentz emphasized that the right to exist is a supreme good, but not a simple one, especially in the fragile stages of life's beginning and end. He affirmed that taking this issue seriously requires personal, political, legal, and pastoral commitments. He also rejected the idea that the defense of life is a cause to, quote, exclusive to certain social groups or a conservative stance. In his view, the expression of humane and supportive society. Now, a lot of what he said there sounds right, except you got to remember, in Germany, bishops like that one are at the forefront of equating the sacrifice of the most vulnerable in the name of comfort, in the name of prosperity, in the name of safety and choice to a religious value. And they equate it with all sorts of other social ills. So it's one issue among many. It's the seamless garment heresy. There are forces in society, he is right to say, that use the sacrifice to Moloch, and the entire issue of life is an instrument of power. What he gets wrong is the context. He's chastising right-wing political parties for taking a hardline stance, and wants the issue broadened to be so inclusive of every topic under the sun that the sacrifice of the most vulnerable in the name of freedom, choice, and prosperity loses all meaning. And that is exactly what he's doing here. And the problem is, nothing's going to happen. Broader issue of our time right now is reform. We're waiting to see the Pope's appointments to the Roman Curia. Mostly people will be paying attention to the prefects of the various dicasteries. You're going to learn a lot by who he chooses to run the other dicasteries or to help those prefects run them. And most people seem to be ignoring his appointments to various dioceses, which have been almost all bad. There have been a handful of decent ones, but some mostly bad ones. And it's bishops like this who are allowed to keep talking. And I don't understand why it's hard for people to see this. That when you get bishops like this who are never corrected by their nuncio as a warning, they never receive an apostolic visitation. It's always the ones who have a more conservative approach to pastoral questions and to hot-button social issues that get the apostolic visitations. They get canceled because they don't go along with Rome. We'll see if that continues in the near future. I hope that we don't get any more Bishop Stricklands in the near future, but I'm not confident. I'm curious what you think about all this. Let me know in the comments. Are you surprised at all by any of the things we talked about here today? Where's that bishop? Or it's this elevation of power is the most important thing, according to Nora O'Donnell, who the National Catholic Reporter decided to give space to for some reason, as if that woman doesn't have enough of a platform on NBC to cover, give out her opinions on all manner of things under the sun. Or are you surprised at all that you now have Cardinal Nichols repeating what Cardinal Supich and others have said about why we have who we have as our new Pope? Let me know what you think about all this in the comments, please. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. Sharing this on social media helps a lot too. Please pray for everybody we spoke about today. Not trying to make you angry at them. They usually do a good enough job on their own. And as always, pray for the church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.